Ambassador Kethlar adjusted his ceremonial robes as he entered the grand chamber of the Galactic Council. The crystalline walls hummed with ancient power, and representatives from 47 species sat in their designated sections, their alien forms creating a tapestry of evolutionary diversity. At the center, in the smallest and most poorly lit section, sat the human delegation. "The motion is clear," Kethlar announced, his voice carrying the authority of 10,000 years of Zalathi dominance. "Humanity has proven itself too aggressive, too unpredictable for continued membership in civilized space. They must be contained." The human ambassador, Sarah Chen, stood slowly. Her small frame seemed insignificant among the towering Gorvani and the ethereal Vorthok, but her voice carried clearly through the chamber. "Contained? You mean enslaved?" "Harsh terms, Ambassador Chen," replied Councillor Vexhan, his tentacles writhing with what humans had learned to recognize as smugness. "We prefer guided development. Your species will serve the greater good under proper supervision." Chen's jaw tightened. Around her, the other human representatives remained perfectly still, but Kethlar noticed something unsettling in their eyes. It wasn't fear or desperation, it was calculation. "You speak of our aggression," Chen said, her voice level. "Yet it was humanity that ended the Krovar War through diplomacy when your civilized species had fought for 3 centuries. It was human medical technology that saved the Thessarian homeworld from the plague. It was human engineers who designed the jump gates that connect your precious council worlds." "All evidence," Councillor Zethra interjected, her avian features sharp with disdain of humanity's dangerous tendency to interfere, to impose their will upon natural order. The vote was swift and decisive. 46 species voted for containment. Only humanity voted against. Chen stood again as the chamber fell silent. "You mistake restraint for weakness," she said quietly. "You mistake cooperation for submission, and you mistake our desire for peace as an inability to wage war." "Threats, Ambassador?" Kethlar's voice carried amusement. "Your species has 37 colony worlds, Ambassador Chen. We have oversight of 17,000 systems. Your largest ships carry crews of 800. Our dreadnoughts house populations of millions. What possible threat could humanity pose?" Chen smiled, and for the first time in his long life, Kethlar felt a chill. "None at all," she replied, "provided you remember that we came to you in peace." Captain Marcus Rodriguez received the transmission as his ship, the Terran Dawn, conducted routine patrol near the Proxima Centauri system. The message was brief, coded in the old military encryption that hadn't been used since the colonial wars. "Remember Thermopylae. Remember the Alamo. Remember Earth." All across human space, similar messages reached other ships, other colonies, other outposts. Within hours, the human fleet had vanished from known space. The Council's enforcement began 3 days later. Zalathi warships arrived at Terra Nova expecting to find a compliant colony ready for integration. Instead, they found empty cities and a single message broadcast on all frequencies: "We decline your offer." The search began in earnest then. Council fleets swept through human space, finding world after world mysteriously evacuated. No signs of struggle, no distress signals, no evidence of where billions of humans had gone. It was as if humanity had simply disappeared. Kethlar stood in his command center aboard the flagship Eternal Glory, studying tactical displays that showed nothing but empty space where the human fleet should be. His subordinates reported the same from every sector. "Nothing. Perhaps," suggested his aide, "they have simply accepted their fate and retreated to their homeworld." Kethlar was about to agree when alarms began shrieking throughout the ship. The attack came from everywhere and nowhere. Human ships appeared. As if from empty space, their hulls painted matte black, their weapons already firing. But these weren't the ships the Council knew. These were larger, faster, armed with technology that made Council sensors scream warnings. The Terran Dawn materialized directly above Kethlar's flagship, its new quantum disruptors tearing through shields that had protected Zalathi vessels for millennia. Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comm. This is Captain Rodriguez of the Terran Colonial Navy. You have 30 seconds to surrender before we demonstrate what happens when you awaken sleeping giants. Across 17 sectors simultaneously, the same scene played out. Human ships that shouldn't exist engaged Council fleets with weapons that shouldn't be possible. In each battle, the message was the same: surrender or face annihilation. The Council learned that day what historians would later call the Great Revelation. Humanity's apparent weakness, their small fleets, their limited technology, it had all been an elaborate performance. While the Council had grown complacent with overwhelming superiority, humanity had spent decades preparing for this exact scenario. They had built hidden shipyards in asteroid fields and rogue planets. They had developed weapons in secret laboratories scattered across uninhabited systems. They had trained not for exploration or commerce, but for war against overwhelming odds. Because they had always known this day would come. Ambassador Chen materialized via hologram in the Council chamber, now significantly emptier than before. Several species had already withdrawn their fleets, unwilling to face human retaliation. Others had sent messages expressing concern about the misunderstanding. The Council gave humanity a choice, Chen said, her image flickering slightly. Accept slavery or face extinction. We have chosen a third option. Kethler, his robes torn and his confidence shattered, could barely speak. What do you want? Nothing you weren't already offering, Chen replied. Peace, trade, cooperation. The difference is that now these things will be offered as equals, or they won't be offered at all. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle over the chamber. You tried to break our spirit, she continued. Instead, you reminded us who we are. We are the species that survived ice ages and asteroid impacts. We are the children of warriors who stood against impossible odds and won. We are humanity, and we do not kneel. The hologram flickered and vanished, leaving the Council chamber in stunned silence. Outside, human ships patrolled the space lanes they had once traveled as supplicants. The galaxy had learned a lesson written in the ashes of Council hubris. Never mistake human restraint for human inability. Never confuse their desire for peace with their capacity for war. And never ever try to cage the children of Earth. The age of Council dominance was over. The age of true galactic cooperation had begun.